Yeah. What else do you need?
Can I use my sink?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't use this sink, but yeah, you could use the other. You have what? A couple bathrooms in here?
Grab those bags and we can back up to the truck.
Well, so are we going to come back a different day or are we going to call someone else out? Because that's 3 bags and just 2 guys. Today? Yo, what's up, man? Fresh. First day on the job. What's poppin'? Just passed that Bond Light stocking.
Nice to meet you. Are those the only shoes you brought?
Yo, you like them? Y'all don't got AC?
Not out here.
That's sus, bro. What's up, baby? What's it do? Man, it's gonna be me and you out there in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Slanging and banging. You and me all day, every day. What?
Fresh air.
Busting, bro. Man, what y'all got up in the fridge, dude? Oh, apple juice! You should get me on there, man, with a fit check. With the flat cap bill, rocking them Jordan 4s, right? With the Home Hero shirt. I've gone to shops where literally guys will pull me aside and be like, man, I love all this stuff you're teaching, but if I do this, I'll be out till midnight. They're just gonna give me more calls. And it's heartbreaking. It's like, man, what's the real goal here? Like if I've got 12 tables in a restaurant and I can serve those 12 people and give them the best experience ever and I can be profitable, if I wanna make more money, I'm gonna add a 13th table. I'm not gonna add a 13th customer. Meaning I'm gonna increase my capacity. I'm not just gonna shove more people into my capacity. If my room fits 56 people and I wanna sell more tickets to my event, I either have to increase the capacity or hold separate events. I can't put 115 people into a room of 57 people.
Tankless and a softener installed. They don't have either, and they've already been approved for financing.
What's that got to do? So you want me to go out there and do that call?
Well, they also say they've been having trouble with their sewer line and been wanting to replace it for a while, but they can't find somebody who they like to do it, but they think they trust us.
I don't want to have to work super hard to get it though. You want me to repipe the house, put it in a new tankless, softener. Did you say something about a sewer line?
That's what it looks like. I think we should go check it out, man.
No, bro, this is ridiculous. And is this commission?
Yeah, I already talked to the owner about it. He wants to actually double your commission on it because it's such a big job.
So you want me to go out there, you want me to run this call, it's a bunch of work and a bunch of money or whatever, but it's also a bunch of taxes, and you're gonna have people out there helping me, watch me, do what I do, and then you want me to get it done faster so I make even more money, and then I have to, take another call because now I'm done by Thursday or something?
What else are you gonna be doing instead here, Steve? This is the job, man.
You got any odor smells or anything like that on there? Like maybe like in a different, maybe just... Why does on-call suck? Well, look, here's the thing. Most companies that do on-call 24/7 after hours, they don't treat it the same way they do during normal hours. They have a full staff and they have a full support system if someone calls between 8 and 5. But then after hours, they don't have a CSR, they don't have a supply staff, they don't have a lot of other things, and they want to go out and charge the same rates to the customer, if not even more, because they're doing after hours work. You want to charge more and do on-call, then provide more service after hours. If you can't provide at least the same service that you provide during the day after hours, then you shouldn't do it. Think of it like an emergency room. Not every doctor is open after hours, but emergency rooms have a full staff after hours. Be an emergency room or be a doctor. But you gotta pick one and make sure that whatever you pick, you can service to the full. When there's no plumbers to hire, there's still a lot of plumbers that don't work for you working in your city. You're just not known enough. And so everybody tries to be just known enough because you don't want to overspend your marketing. And he goes, well, what do you do with all the money you spend on leads that you can't get to? And I'm like, well, what do you do with all the money you don't make when you're slow? See how this goes both ways? So I would rather spend a couple extra thousand every month and waste it and be known and have leads and momentum and be moving forward and I can hire into than to have that day, just one day when I'm slow. Be a couple grand in revenue off of one truck that we don't get.
It's that time again!
You've now entered the No Sales Zone.
No Sales Zone.
Where Chris Fresh,
the plumbing sales coach,
peels back the curtain of what sales really is. Buckle up. Buckle up. And get ready to learn how to increase ticket average by providing better service. And now.
Are you ready?
Your host,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
CF.
The plumbing sales coach.
What's up and welcome to the show tonight, guys. We have a special guest in the house. We had to get a little tricky. We had to get a little bit different, but we cannot wait to share that with you tonight. We got Bradford White in the house, and we are going to be unpacking a lot about them. I was just at their facilities, and I cannot wait to do that. But welcome to the show, The Fresh Approach. I'm your host, CF, the plumbing sales coach. And as always, we're bringing service to you. As always, we are talking about how we can do more for the customer in the home. And I believe product knowledge is a huge piece of that. You've got to know what you're doing. You got to know who you're serving. You got to know, really how you're going about it. And I realized we got a major echo in the room tonight. I don't think we realize we've taken some things out of here. Is that right? Okay, perfect. Sounds fine to you guys. I can hear it. Who's on the show tonight? Who's watching the show? We got ready for the show, Robert Avila in the house. Chuck Dollarhide says, Thurgood Plumbing, Clearfield in Payson, Utah in the house. Logan in the house. Javier in the house. Brian, is that Freshnay? I like that. I think it's probably pronounced a little bit different, but I'm going to start saying Brian Freshnay. I love it. The Plumber's Plunger, he says, let's go. Mary Sperlin White says, looking forward to it. We've got a big one planned for you. We'll let you guys hop on here and get live. But I was just got back literally about 20 minutes ago, back to Indianapolis, back to my studio. Drove all the way back from Bradford White. Was there earlier today all morning and into the afternoon a little bit, and then drove back here. But I was able to meet with their technical team, training staff, walk the floor of the actual areas where they make them and where they manufacture them. And let me tell you, they are literally made right there, right here in the USA, made there in Michigan, still welded, all the stuff being done right there at the local factory. And it is neat. It is cool. It is fun to watch. Mary Beth says, hi from Cleveland. What's up? What's up? Listen, if you're in plumbing, if you're a plumber, if you're anywhere near plumbing, you ever wanted to know how a water heater is made or what a water heater does or how it all works, I'm going to show you tonight because Bradford White took us deep into the trenches. Can't wait to show you guys how it's done. And it's an assembly. It's an entire thing. And there's a lot that goes to it because there's a lot of different types of water heaters that they have to make. Different parts of the country, different regulations, different things like that. And there's a lot to come with that as well. A lot of information that we learned today that will be coming out here soon, maybe in the next year or so. A lot of changes to the industry. There are changes coming. They're good water heaters. When it comes to warranty, they're not that good. Tim always hopping on here just ragging everyone. Tim, I've never had a problem. I've been installing Bradford Whites for years. Every time in fact, that's one of the things I liked about them was their warranty. It was simple. Go to the supply shop, give them the sticker, get a new heater, you're on your way. Says, what's up from New Mexico? Stinson Plumbing in the house from Fort Worth, Texas, Larry. Empire Plumbing, Andrew Manis, what's up? Look, we're talking about water heaters. We're talking about Bradford White. Shauna sends 300 stars. Shauna, we love you as always. Mr. Potty Plumbing in the house. She finds a bigger way to say Texas. Always looking for a bigger way. Look, guys, we're talking about these water heaters, and one of the things that makes Bradford White unique, and you're going to hear it in the first part of the deal. And what we did was we were in their training facility, we were in their manufacturing plant, and recorded segments of the training of the interviews. We're having a little bit of a hard time, I think, with the second segment. Tyler, is that right? So we were kind of doing some product knowledge on them. I can do that part if we can't get it. I really wish that we could because it showed the inside of that water heater and their unique technology that they do. But we'll break that down because it's really important. It's really important to understand. Look, we got to understand so we can help the customer understand. A water heater is not just a water heater. Bob Kellogg in the house says, hey, Fresh, what up, Bob? Jacob Lovelady just left Tip City 5-Star Home Services. I think that means he just left that company. Well, bye, 5-Star Home Services. Whoop, whoop. Kate Greb says, whoop, whoop, in the house. That's all we install. Haven't had any issues up to this point. Talking about Bradford White. We are a Bradford White company. Love them. Yeah, great company. You know what's cool about this company, again, we're going to learn some stuff in the interview, but they've been around for a long time. They're locally owned. They understand what's going on in the industry with private equity. They see what's coming. They are for the small business. They are for the blue collar. They are for the trade. They are for the pro. They're absolutely for the pro. He says, knock on wood. Yeah, they are for the pros, and that's what I love about them. That's what I think is so different. You know, nowadays you get so many different people in the world, not just in, you know, manufacturing, but in the world that are just about the money. And people have found that you can make money in blue collar. People have found that you can make money in the trades. For those that don't know this, but I grew up when I was 18. I was doing carpentry. My dad was a plasterer. Did plaster work. I was in carpentry. Did finish and framing. Built residential homes. Then went into scaffold carpentry. Got my journeyman card for carpentry out of the local hall of Louisiana, Baton Rouge. Did some time in Pascagoula. That's what you say when you're in the union. You say, I did some time. I did some time in Pascagoula. Did some time in the Navy in Pascagoula. Did some time in the union in Pascagoula. But I found out that Bradford White's a union company. They're right there out of Michigan. Made in the USA for the USA. I love it. North American water heater. They're actually, I can't remember the number he said, but it's thousands of water heaters they make a day. It was crazy. It was a crazy high number. She says, happy Monday. He said, left the town, still work there. Okay, all right, cool. The way you wrote that, bro, I didn't know if we were celebrating for you, for them, for everyone. Chris Banks in the house, what's up? Tony Flint watching. Carissa Stinson, good to see you. Look, I'm telling you, if you're on YouTube, shout it out. I know we kind of ignore you, but I've got you, Brad. I've got your comments. I'm ready to rock and roll with your comments over on YouTube. Let me know where you're from, where you plumb. Looks like we got a smaller crowd tonight. It's going to be a little bit more intimate. All right, we got a couple different segments to show you. So what we're going to do first here is, like I said, I went to Bradford White, was there all day, or most of the day today, toured everything, did their training facilities, did like the intro breakdown of stuff that they do there, learned the history of the company and where they're going, where they're at, where they're from, and then was able to move on into the actual manufacturing plant, walk the plant. Me, my wife, April, and then one of my social media, Logan, basically went with us, and he was able to walk around. Really cool, really neat, really great people. Noticed a couple things that we're going to point out here, I think, in this first segment of the interview about how much of a team they are. But I want you guys to understand product knowledge and with these products that we offer. I think a lot of times, you know, we get compared to people in the home saying things like, well, I saw one at Lowe's for, well, that one at Lowe's wasn't made in Michigan. That one at Lowe's isn't supported by the people in Michigan. That one at Lowe's isn't, and so forth and so on. And so I really want you to understand the difference in what we offer as a trade comparative to what the big box store, what private equity, what the money offers as a consumer, as a commodity. And so we've been commoditized. We've been commoditized for a long time. And it's really kind of sad because I think a lot of people don't realize what a skill set plumbing is, what it's required, and what goes into that. And product knowledge is a big one. Let's go ahead and roll the first part of this thing. It's about 15 minutes long, and we'll be right here waiting for you guys when we get back. What's up, everyone? I am here with Spencer Pope with Bradford White Water Heaters. He is the manager of technical support and training. And first of all, thanks so much for having us here today. It's been great. You guys have shown us the manufacturing plant. You've shown us the training facility. There's a classroom-style training facility. Here in a little bit, you guys are going to get a good look inside their water heaters as well as the training facility that we're in right now, which is more of a hands-on section. So really quick, tell us how you became an employee of Bradford White and why Bradford White.
Yeah, well, first off, normally I am the one saying thanks for having me, but interestingly, you're visiting me. So I guess, yeah, cool to be together.
Yeah, it's been great, actually.
I started here at Bradford White back in 2011. I came on board as a tech support agent, and originally I was overnights back when we went 24/7. I did 8 years total of tech support. I did some specialty support. I've been a technical trainer, and now I'm the manager of tech support and training. Before Bradford White, I was a service contractor. I did commercial food equipment, refrigeration, and HVAC.
Wow, and you guys have a state-of-the-art facility here. Literally, again, we're gonna show you guys kind of behind the scenes and let you take a look at what they have. But man, I'm telling you, it's everything. It's everything you can imagine and then a little bit more. Had a really good time going through the manufacturing plant. But before we did that, you guys gave us some history on Bradford White. I think we're going to flash some pictures up here on the screen in a few minutes. But tell us a little bit about the history of Bradford White, because it wasn't Bradford. It wasn't White. Wait, maybe it was. Tell us the story.
We go back to 1881, over 140 years ago. We originally started as the Pennsylvania Range and Boiler Company.
Okay.
We started in Pennsylvania, and we went through a few different name changes throughout the middle of the century. The most notable is, at one point, we had changed our name to the Pennsylvania Bradford Appliance Corporation. So that's where the Bradford part of the name comes in, Bradford, Pennsylvania. And we purchased White's Water Heaters here in Middleville. And then we shortened the name to Bradford White Corporation.
Wow. Okay, so White's Plumbing was here.
White's Water Heaters, yeah.
White's Water Heaters was here in Middleville,
Middleville,
Michigan,
which is a giant intersection of cornfields. So yeah, you're mispronouncing it is not uncommon, because it's a pretty small place.
It's pretty close to a very large lake.
Yep.
And then Bradford was Bradford, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so the two companies, do they merge, or how'd that work?
Yeah, the Bradford Appliance Corporation just purchased White's outright, and they merged into one entity.
Bradford White.
Bradford White.
All right, great. Bradford White Defender? Or no, just Bradford White.
Well, the Defender is a whole funny story. Defender is our trade name for our FVIR system, our flammable vapor ignition resistant system. When I was in tech support, everyone that called us, because we'd put that big Defender label
Huge Defender.
front and center.
Defender safety system.
So they'd always call and say, I've got your Bradford White Defender, and Defender was a name that was basically in everything residential. It's funny you bring that up, because we've since changed our labeling so that Bradford White is larger than the word Defender, since that's just an accessory, essentially.
Hey, for those van wraps out there, your name needs to be bigger than the service you provide.
It's an important business lesson, yeah.
Okay, so Bradford White comes onto the scene. They exist, made in the USA, made here in the USA, made by people in the USA. And that's a big deal to you guys, because you guys are union based.
Yes.
And so everyone here is in the union, everyone here in the US, and then they're making a US steel product.
That's right.
Literally, I think Indiana, Ohio is where you source a lot of your steel. That's really cool to me. So it's really blue collar. I mean, it's blue collar for blue collar. It's pros for pros. And I think that's important. I think a lot of that's gone these days, unfortunately, and you still find that here.
It's that old school sort of made in the heartland kind of story.
Yeah.
You know, the raw steel from the U.S., some from Canada, and then a union-built product, made right here in Michigan. We're on the west side of the state, so just the other side from the auto manufacturers, and we know sort of the direction the auto industry is going.
The Fords and whatnot, yeah.
And nowadays, maybe not as much for the auto industry, where it's not so much made here anymore, but with Bradford White, made right here out of parts that we find from all over the world.
And then you're employee owned. So not only is it made right here, but you're not private equity, you're not publicly traded.
That's correct.
Your employees still own and operate this. And we actually talked about that. It's an interesting twist to things, because like I said before, mindset changes everything, and mindset will then change the thinking. The thinking will change the solutions that you come up with whatever's going on. Here's where I'm going with that. Because there are a lot of people in the world making decisions and they're disconnected from the actual reality of the result, a lot of bad decisions get made, a lot of bad inventions get made. But because you guys are actually you got your hands on the steel, making the water heater, and then you're also the ones making the decisions on maybe what's next, it puts a little bit more context to those solutions, meaning the solutions are now based off reality, not off perception or some politician.
Yes.
You can't say that again. Fresh Force said that.
I mean, I know I have said before that the decision-making processes here at Bradford White are definitely not driven by shareholders, by large mysterious forces that are looking for, to make a quick buck. I feel all the technical trainers, all the people working here that you've met, we take it as it's our company, we own it, let's make it the best it can be. And so all of our decision making is based on, well, if I own the place, I would decide to make this good decision, to make that good quality.
Yeah, because you do own the place.
Yeah,
and
we do.
You own the fraction of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple quick things, and then we're going to take you guys in to look at these water heaters, and then we're going to take you again into this training center. For owners that are watching right now, pay attention to this training center. This is going to be the last piece of the show, but make sure you stick around for that because you're going to want to see how they set it up because you could probably duplicate some of this stuff in your own shop for training purposes. But two things that I want to ask you. Number one was my first question. I already asked it earlier, but I want them to hear it. My main question, my big question coming into this whole thing was, how'd you guys stay away from the big box stores? I know that's probably not everyone else's question, but that's mine. I think that's so neat that every other, not just water heaters, but every other manufacturer in the world, they'll alter their own quality to fit a different customer. So for those that don't know, Goodyear Tire, I'll use them as an example. They make quality tires. They sell them to tire shops, but they make a different version of that tire for Walmart specifically. Walmart is a big enough buyer. They can do that. Lowe's is a big enough buyer. They can alter manufacturers' things. Home Depot's a big enough buyer. They can alter. You guys don't play that game. You only sell to contractors. You only sell to professionals. Why? How'd that happen? What's the reasoning behind that?
You know, our backstory is sort of like the underdog that could. When we started in the early 90s, the industry laughed at us. They said, like, you will go straight out of business if you only limit yourselves to wholesale. And we said, no, because we think we can build a high quality product that's driven by professionals only through the wholesale channel. And we saw that as an opportunity to, in the beginning, hone the vision, produce something that is truly of high quality and that a professional would be proud to put their name on. You and I got a chance to talk a bit about, as the plumber, as the contractor, you're really the face of the brand, sometimes more than the actual OEM is. And so we decided to invest in that channel and say, let's tighten up the vision, let's focus on the one channel, let's do it the best that we can. And then I think the results have spoken for themselves over the following decades.
That's so true, because when other manufacturers have had a problem, maybe a massive defect with multiple, maybe a different manufacturer makes a product and then one of their components fails over and over and over and over again. And now there's this mass recall, we'll say. We joked around about the car industry. If you go to the Ford dealer, you look at it like it's a Ford problem. But when you go to Steve's plumbing shop, you think it's Steve's plumbing that's failing you when the Bradford White Water Heater or whatever thing fails. And so you have to make a good product so that the people out there representing you are represented well as well.
Yes.
It's almost like you're representing each other. I think that's really cool. I don't think people look at it like that. I think business oftentimes thinks about once the transaction's over, they're out. They got to stand behind it. They got to warranty it to protect their own name and brand, whatever. I get that. But you're looking at it more like, hey, look, ABC Plumbing, or, we work at Home Heroes Plumbing or Mr. Drippy Plumbing or somebody like that. And it's like, hey, you're going to go into that home with our product, but they're going to see you. And so if our product isn't good, you're going to look bad. If our product's good, you're going to look good.
Yes.
And it's a mutual respect. I love that. I can guarantee you they actually believe that, because the second thing I was going to bring up, which is completely disconnected, but I think the same thing, is that every time we went through your facility, these are people working. Okay, they're welding. They're not like, oh look, it's Chris Fresh and the plumbing stuff. They're at work. They're doing it. They don't even know who I am. They're just like, man, okay, another person coming through the building. They all smile. They all wave. They all say hi. I noticed that when the person taking us on the tour dapped every single person. There's a mutual respect amongst each other. It doesn't matter if you're in the training area and they're you don't even see that in plumbing shops between the office staff and the field. Forget about a major, how many employees?
1,700 just on this campus.
1,700 just on this campus, and they all know each other. They're all like, oh, that's, and it's like, I'm just like, hi. And it's so crazy to me. I think that's just a testament. You can't fake that. They can't go around and put on a show. They could, but I know for a fact you can't get the manufacturing plant workers to put on a show.
Fake it, yeah.
They're still faking it.
The only thing we faked is a celebrity as large as you coming through. We did have to send a memo that told people not to get excited. So they did.
By large, we're not talking about physical stature. No, they said first they were like, hey guys, listen, big names coming in, blah, blah, blah. Then they were like, the response they got was who? And then they're like, then they had to tell them who I was so that they could know that something, they're probably all still like, I don't even remember that guy coming through here. So I think that's really cool though. You can't fake that stuff. I go into plumbing shops all the time. I go to do a shop visit, and the owners can be like, we're so glad you're here. Even the office staff, we're forced to be so glad you're here. Plumbers are just like,
Yep.
Who's this guy? You know, it's like, they ain't faking it.
I've visited shops like that.
Who's this clown? Who's the suit? I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
not even a suit. What? Okay. All right. We're gonna break from here. I really love the story of Bradford White. I love it. I love the fact that it's local. It's here. It's real. It's not somebody in Simi Valley that had an idea that wanted to make money in college. It's real solution for real problems in a real trade. I love that about you guys. I love that you use everything you do is legit. I saw it with my own eyes. If you have never seen it, come see it. So cool. I'm inviting everyone here. I don't even know if they're allowed to.
Come check us
Just
out.
come,
for sure.
just knock on their
Just
door.
Show up at the front door. I should probably do a
Don't
shameless.
mention my name.
Well, I should probably do a shameless plug for how you would find out.
How
you
can
can
somebody
visit the
find out
facility.
really quick before we show them around?
We have a For the Pro website, forthepro.bradfordwhite.com, and you can gain a lot of useful things. So again, my service background and as a technical trainer, my favorite parts of that website are the service manuals. We've got all the install literature. We've got quick service guides. We've got video content. All that's on there, but there is also contact information. You would work through your local rep agency, and you can book time with us. So that's
For the
that's
Pro.
For the Pro. Yep. .bradfordwhite.com.
forthepro.bradfordwhite.com. Can they get technical help on there too, it sounds like?
Yes, we have that's an exciting new thing that we've been doing in tech support. We have a chat feature, so you can chat with us right there on the website. We have a For the Pro app as well. You put the app on your phone, you can tap chat with us, you can access tech support right through that right away.
Gangster. That's what we say when things are tight. Gangster. All right, cool. All right, we're going to show you guys inside some of these water heaters here in just a couple minutes. All right, wow, Spencer's awesome. I had a great time with him. You're going to see and hear from him in just a few more minutes. I'm going to take you guys into the water heater, the inside of this water heater. I want to show you a couple things that I found really unique about Bradford White. One that we all know about, one we may not know about. And I think it's really important too, because one of the things that, I learned some things when I was in there, not just about water heaters, but just about, I was reminded, I should say, that there's, just a few people that you can put your trust in. And, they're one of them. I think of Milwaukee Tools when I think that way. I think of different brands, that are professional, that stand out. And so I hope you guys get a chance to go through something like that. Look up that website. Go to that website. Use that resource. They've got a chat bot there for technical support. They've got real people there in their building that were master plumbers, that have that license, that know what they're doing. They've been on calls, and they're there to help. Scripts, as you heard. People that are there that know what they're doing and want to help. And I think that's what makes them different. Not only that, they're just a few hundred feet, well, maybe a few thousand feet from the manufacturing plant where they're actually made. So that's just puts them in the situation and the reality. In fact, got a couple hats today from Bradford White. Love these hats. We may give one of these away. I think we got one of these to give away today for you guys here before the show's over. We'll be doing that here soon. Let me know if you install Bradford White. If you're a Bradford White person, put it in the comments. Let me know. How many water heaters do you think you've installed in your career? That's an interesting question. How many water heaters do you think you've been a part of the installation or you've installed yourself? Throw that in the comments. I'm going to show you guys the inside of these water heaters. If you've never really cut open a water heater, you're missing out. You really should. I remember we did a water heater water softener school years ago that I held at Cisneros Brothers out in California. We cut open the expansion tank. We cut open the water heater, and it was just really cool. We did it back at the shop that I was at when I ran in Indianapolis. We cut open the water heater. In fact, we had it cut open an electric water heater. We had it open the whole time for new people to come in and for people to see what sediment could do when it builds up in there and how much that can affect not only the recovery rate, but also the ability for the lower element to heat up, or for the burner assembly to heat up the bottom of that water there in the bottom of the water heater. And so it says only one we install is Bradford White. Yeah, I love that they're not in the big box stores, that this is a brand that you can find in only supply shops. Most preferred is Bradford White. I love that. Great, great, great. Branding with the material you install is key. It absolutely matters, and it's really cool. Yeah, Paul Opsa says Bradford White are the only tank heaters we will use. Love that. Let's go. Let's go. Royal Plumbing says installs Bradford White. Paul says 10 billion. That's how many he's installed. 10 billion. All in attics, too. All in attics. And he puts the water heater outside on the roof. Okay, so look, or the water softener. He knows what I'm talking about. It's an inside joke. Okay, look, I want to know a little bit more about these Bradford Whites. I want you to know a little bit more about these Bradford Whites. We're going to dive into this second session. Before we go too much further, we're having a little bit of trouble with that third video. Any luck yet with that? We do have luck. We think we're going to be able to get you all 3 pieces tonight, allegedly. So we'll get into that here in a second. Also, for the people that have been watching the show, I get so many messages all the time asking, do you do training? Do you help plumbing companies? Can you help us? Look, I'm going to do something on Wednesday that we really haven't done before, and if it goes well, maybe we'll do it again. But we're going to do this webinar on Wednesday, serviceexpertblueprint.com. It's a free webinar. I'm going to break down kind of the framework of the service plumbing business and how it should flow and how it should go and how it should run. And hopefully you can come out of that with the same information and knowledge you need to really kind of set you to that next, to unlock you and then get you where you need to go. And so we're going to do that for you guys on Wednesday. That's going to be about an hour and a half long training, virtual training with me. It'll be me and it'll be live, and we'll knock that thing out. I think we got about 20 or 30 people registered already, so grab seats before they fill up. Okay, look, Bradfords are my favorite. Chuck Dollaride says, I'm not going to lie, we often have install what's available. That stinks. That's no good. Stock up. We just switched to Bradford White. Love them, Nick says. Yeah, I kept a couple in my shop. That way we always could do it. Want to always make sure we had those available. I know that with the plumbing company that I currently own down in Atlanta, we do a different brand, but that is something we are working on. That's a work in progress. I understand the limitations that you can have with your supply shops, but go to your supply shops, let them know the preferred brand you want, and they'll make some changes. Going to be a great training, Raylene says. It is. I think it's going to be a blast. Bradford White is a good time. Okay, we're going to show you guys the inside of these water heaters. I want to show you guys the inside of these water heaters. I want you to see exactly what's going on. Now, Bradford White has a couple of unique things that they do with their water heaters that are a little bit different from everyone else. Other than that, you're going to see a lot of the same things that you're used to seeing. A lot of the components to a water heater are the same, but the quality of those components may not be the same. More importantly, the quality of that tank. And that's what we're going to learn out right now, the quality of that tank. One thing that they do is they have straight up U.S. steel. We talked about that already, but they do things to that steel. I must have watched them. They've got in their facility, they've got literally a third of this thing where they just test and quality control. And there's so many stations where they're actually taking apart what they already put together just to make sure that the quality is there. I can't wait for you guys to see what they do there and how they do that. Okay, are we ready for the second segment? All right, let's rock and roll. All right, I want you guys to see inside of these heaters. Now, we just came off the floor from the warehouse where their manufacturing plant. I shouldn't say warehouse. It's a little bit of both, right?
Yep.
It's got a warehouse and a lot of
distribution warehouse, yeah.
Raw materials, finished materials, all kinds of components. But
Yep.
I want you guys to see inside this thing because what Bradford White does is so different from what everyone else does. Come take a look. All right, help us see. Now, you got a couple of things in this that are going to be uniquely different that separates Bradford White from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
What would be those things if someone new here was looking?
I think the biggest things would be our lining, our vitreous enamel lining. Since 1951, our name for that is Vitriglass, and we've added microban to it. So microban helps prevent the growth of mildew, mold, bacteria on the surface of the lining.
And that's what we're looking at right here, this blue.
That's the blue glass inside there.
Here.
And one of the things that we take very seriously is prepping the steel for our water heaters, for these water vessels, making sure that lining can stick best possible way that it can and protect the heater as thoroughly as it can. And then the other thing that you saw visiting us is our attention to detail on the welding. The fact that we want all of our welds to be the best quality they can be so the heater lasts as long as it can.
And you guys do, not only do you have a couple different processes for that, but you have, I saw just about half that building out there is testing. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about the testing. So for example, you put a very thin coat on.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, correct me, but it's every 10 sprays or every 10 coats, it gets retested to make sure the depth and everything is correct.
Yep.
So you're making how many water heaters a day?
We're making residentially about 10,000 a day.
And every 10 is
Yep.
getting this test because you want consistency.
Because we want consistency.
Not only that, they're pulling units off the line and then checking the welds.
Yep.
They're putting the welds under pressure, stress
Destruction
test.
testing, yeah, exactly.
That's
Every
what I said.
hour
Your
on the
testers
hour.
are really demolishers.
They are, yeah. I mean, it'd be a
How
fun
can I
job to
break
have,
this?
right? Yeah, like how can I rip this apart and see if we're doing okay?
I would thrive at that position. Okay, so you got this, and then the other cool thing I've really, I mean, we went through a whole class. I'm telling you, this is mind-blowing stuff. If you have not been to their class, give them a quick look of the classroom setting right behind us, and you can see the stadium seating up there. And they bring over 3,000, I think, people in a year to go through this training and go through different things, and they've got a huge screen in production. And it's amazing. It's crazy awesome what you guys are doing. But one of the things, just before we get too far off in this, your customers aren't even the end user people installing, but yet you're training them because
Yep.
you want to make the industry better. You guys have a saying. What is it?
Which say so like one
A
of
lot
the
of
things that we
sayings.
that we've got a really special culture here. It's something that when we were talking earlier, I had said, me as a service contractor, I came out of the field doing service work, and I was attracted to Bradford White for the attention to quality, for the dedication to the trades. When we train contractor, wholesale, engineer audiences, technically our customer would be the rep to the wholesaler, to the contractor. And so what I like about that is it sort of removes the, we'll say, need for sale. I don't know how many of you out there maybe have experienced a technical training. I know I've experienced that when I went through my local wholesaler, whoever it was, and it was really just a sales pitch. That's something that we avoid at all costs.
You're talking
here at
about
Bradford
like
White.
the distributor comes into the shop. He's supposed to teach the plumbers how a water heater works, but
Yep.
instead just teaches them that they should buy that water heater.
This is our portfolio, and yep, this is,
I've been in a couple of those rooms. So, but you mentioned that what was it? It was a better future for Bradford White if the better
100%.
if the what was how did you say it?
Stronger trades means a stronger Bradford
That
White.
was it.
Yep, totally. So like everyone here in this facility, we're here in Middleville, Michigan, across the street from the factory in the iTech building. This is where tech support is. Our tech support team are all some flavor of licensed contractor. And the whole focus in here, whether it's training or whether it's supporting the water heaters, is that if we can help the trades be stronger, that means Bradford White's going to be stronger.
So the tech support you're talking to is a licensed pro sitting in this building right across the street from where the plant is that they're making these. You talk about being connected. And I think that's a big problem for a lot of us is when we call in for tech support, who are we talking to? Have they ever done this before? Where are they even located?
Are they reading from a script?
Are they reading from a script?
Nobody
You
reading
guys
from
don't
a
read
script here. Yep.
I could work here if you don't have to read. Or wait, you said read from a script. Maybe okay. So this lining is a big deal to you guys. The
Yes.
other quick thing before we move on, and you guys talk about this out in the plant, is the importance of, because these things heat up and they expand and contract, they need to be able to flex. They need to be, the unit itself needs to be flexible. And this is extremely flexible.
Yep.
And you showed us a stat, and I'm gonna get this wrong, but they showed us a stat where you've tested all your competitors and we're gonna say, so I don't have to give you guys a class. I couldn't if I wanted to, but so I don't have to give you a class. We're just gonna say that 150 imperfections. We're just gonna say imperfections to make life easy. So when you test all the other brands, the best one is going to come in at 150 to 175 imperfections when you put it through the specific test. Yours is how many again?
We're less than 15 since 1997.
Not 50.
Yeah, 15.
And you've gotten it
We've
down.
gotten better since 2022. Since we introduced microban, we're down to less than 5. These are random samples of the lining, checking for voids. All of us manufacturers, we want this lining to be as protective, but also as thin and flexible as possible. And so we always try not to criticize the competition here in this facility, but we're certainly testing the lining. We're checking out how they do.
I'll do it.
I'll defer to you on that, because I love that you're
And
passionate about.
because this is what I get. If you go to my comment section, if you go to my world, what happens is I'll make a comment like, pros should be getting stuff from pros. Pros should be getting stuff from the supply shops. Home Depot, Lowe's is meant to sell to the homeowner, the do-it-yourselfer. You should be going and getting stuff from the supply shops. The weight of the Delta faucet at Home Depot is different than the weight of the Delta faucet at the supply shop, so forth and so on. Galvanized, finished to the bottom of a Badger 5. We got stainless steel at the supply shop. Water heaters. So many people, water heaters are water heaters are water heaters. That is just not true. And on top of that, if I take all the manufacturers and I line them up against themselves, not against anyone else, they have varying qualities in their own stuff, but you don't. You have one way.
That's right. All of our heaters we build to the exact same standard, and so like for our warranty processes, you're choosing warranty coverage on paper. We build everything to the same high quality tier, and you're just choosing warranty coverage based on matter of documentation essentially. So yeah, everything as high quality as we can get it. The lining, the steel, the welds, I think that the results in the field speak for themselves. I know when I was out in the field, I saw the difference. That's what made me gravitate toward Bradford White.
I love it. Some people say when I bring manufacturers on, I sound like I turn into a salesman. I'm not getting nothing for this. You guys did take care of lunch. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And you did take care of our hotel room. We do appreciate the hospitality, but we don't have a financial relationship. I don't get any kickbacks. I get nothing. I'm a small fish in a very large pond when it comes to Bradford White. But they care about getting the message out, and I care about getting you connected to what's right, what's pro, what's elite, what is quality, and that is Bradford White. Now, there's one more thing that I think that separates you guys from the rest of the industry, not limiting you to just two things, but there's another thing in this dip tube that's a little bit different. Tell us a little bit about that.
Our dip tube, we've got openings that they look kind of like smileys and frownies. And those will be set up differently depending on which water heater you are looking at. One important thing to note about modern dip tubes is they are very specific to the model that they are in. They help us balance the tank temperature. They help us prevent stratification or temperature stacking. And so our dip tube is something that's proprietary to us. It helps stir the incoming cold water. It, as best as it would be able to, stirs up sediment as new cold comes in so that we don't let sediment settle in the bottom, which should prolong the life of the heater.
And I know we're in Michigan right now, and I come from a background of Indiana where our hardness is 24 on city water, 24 to 32 grains. And so that really does start to actually make a difference. It can help. Stratification, for when the show ends, I want you guys to go look up that word. I will be. That's a new word for me. All right. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to point out on your heater that is uniquely different? I'll tell you, I'll point out one more thing. You know, all of these are made here in the U.S. and just literally, it's quite a few steps, but there's a big building over here. And we walked through that whole thing. And what was so fascinating to me is they have different stages, we'll call it, to the production line. So if you never got a chance to see this, you got to come find a way to get to Bradford White and see this and get a tour because it's so cool. But when you go through the facility, you can see that no matter if it's a low boy, no matter if it's a tall, no matter if it's a 40 or a 50, no matter if it's a power vent or it's a future gas or it's a electric, the process for making these tanks is the same. And it all starts with raw steel. It all starts with sheets of steel. And then it runs through these like really large machines with really cool people working those machines. And they basically roll these things into tanks, then they weld them. And then you start seeing the ports or, you know, the holes being made and then the ports being added. And all this stuff gets done. It gets welded about 342 times. It gets heated up about 25 times, cooled back off, heated back up. I'm making a lot of this up. Fairly accurate with some exaggerations.
It's a good retelling with some exaggeration.
with some exaggerations. But that's really what's happening. It's an assembly line of people that are working on this one basic piece of raw steel that eventually turns into this water heater. And what you see is not at all what this inside piece here before all this is what they're all making, and then everything gets added after the fact. And it's really neat just to see that it doesn't matter if someone's buying a 40-gallon electric or if they're buying a 50-gallon power vent or if they're buying, you know, a really expensive heat pump. At the end of the day, the same quality, the same material, the same people are making these things. And then it gets sent off to get its finishing touches. And that's where the diversity really comes in, is a little bit later when you start.
Bit of does it have a blower? Does
it have this? Does it have that? Yeah, exactly right. So I love that. I think that's really cool. One more thing I think you guys should know, and I think this is very important. I can't get into this too much because I don't even know exactly what I did or didn't see, but I will say that they are on their game. Like they are 10 years ahead of all of us, trying to figure out what the next thing is and what's going to happen. Not from us, like what can we sell the industry, but how can we ensure that we are in alignment with what the regulations are and with the changes in homes. You know, you think back to 2015 when and all the insulation got added and all of a sudden we couldn't fit the water heaters through the doorways no more. And it's like, what do we do? I love that you guys are you're kind of staying in front of that. I think that was you guys mentioned 2015 was a big deal for you guys.
Yes.
And that big shift.
It was a big thing for the industry, but yeah, we stayed ahead of that one by releasing our heat pump. That was our first heat pump hybrid water heater to the market in the 2015 NACA Act, the National Appliance Energy Conservation Act. And then even an example before that would be the FVIR standard from July of 2003. FVIR is flammable vapor ignition resistance. For those who have worked on an FEIR water heater, they have an enclosed chamber where the flame is, and they have to have some kind of a flame arrestor plate in the bottom, and then they have to have some kind of a limit that shuts the heater down if a vapor gets in and lights off. What I always liked as a service contractor in the field, and this is again, I gravitated to Bradford White because of designs that I saw while I was turning wrenches out there. I'd go to a Bradford White and I noticed the screen, the vapor screen in the bottom. It's the entire floor plate. It's the biggest screen in the industry. That was something that we designed thinking.
Yours, yeah.
Yep, ours. It was something, we designed it thinking, how do we make this thing the most serviceable it could be and the most long lasting it could be? And it turned out it was a winning formula. It's been the most successful version of FEIR out there in the field. And so then you fast forward to 2015, we hit those changes in stride, introduced our hybrid, introduced a few models that like you said, they got a little wider, they got taller. Unfortunately, the whole industry had to go through that. And now we have some upcoming legislation that's going to affect us in October
can you
of
just
this
help
year.
people understand that? Just for example, the screen, like the thinking behind that, because everyone else went with the, the more smaller, what's the least amount. You guys went with what's the most amount. And what made you use the bottom? Because no, I don't think anyone else did. Everyone else used the side back, the lower back or something like that. What made you guys do that? How did you know to do that?
Main thing was service area. I mean, really we just looked at it and said, how do we make a water heater that could stay running as long as possible? You know, when you introduce an enclosed system, small openings, perfect world, this thing only acts as a flame arrestor.
Yeah.
Reality, I mean, I don't know that I ever ran a service call when I was in the field where a vapor actually went off. The times I go and service a FEIR water heater, the screens are just dirty. So it turns out, while we were trying, and I say we, the federal government was trying to prevent vapors from lighting, what they really did is introduced a filter system for the air in the bottom of a chamber. And so you look at it that way and you say, well, how do we design the biggest, largest surface area air filter you could that represents the least nuisance to the end user? We want the heater to just work. They expect hot water. We're going to provide that to them. And so it's a stainless steel plate, biggest surface area you can get, fuss-free. The little limit switch on the chamber door is an off-the-shelf standard style part. It's called a bimetal snap disc limit switch, which is a $10 way of saying it's a temperature limit you could get from most any supplier, any wholesaler. It's the kind of limit that's used on furnaces and fryers and ovens and all kinds of things. So we tried to make something that easy to work on, easy to keep running, and that was really the approach.
I think that's what separates a lot. If you look at most manufacturers or companies in any industry area, you're always going to find these anomalies, like somebody that's doing a little bit different. And we talked about it early on, it's like, well, it's because you're thinking different. So it's going to cause a chain reaction. So your solutions are going to be different. Because you're trying to achieve something different. Everyone is getting set the same regulation, but everyone's coming at it from a different angle. And you guys do it well. You do it better than anyone. I love it. I appreciate you guys letting us. Yeah, no, it's been great. Okay, so you got a couple separating factors here. Something like this liner right here being a big deal. This was in development for how long?
The original lining is from 1951. The introduction of microban, it took us several years before microban actually hit the market. And again, that was something where we said, hey, we're going to make a change to this lining and we need to dial it in, make sure every single aspect of this lining is exactly what we expect it to be so that the field does not see a change in performance of our product other than a positive change. So we achieved that. We did not see an uptick of voids in our lining. We actually saw a decrease in potential voids in our lining, and we introduced all the positive aspects of the protection of microban.
Love it. They were amazing. They said they can't hear me right now. Oh, you can hear me now? When did they start hearing me? So they didn't hear my amazing joke? My secret to life. Okay, all right. I gave you guys a secret to life, and also gave you guys a little. No, I'm joking. Basically, what I was saying was the camera plays tricks on you. Spencer really isn't that much taller than me. That's what I was saying. Audio. Okay, I see you. Thank you so much. Man, we just did that to get the comments going. The sound of silence, Anna says. Ryder P. Malone's in the house. What up? What up? We're back. We're back. Bob Kellogg says, good. Tech support, ironically enough. I was saying Spencer's not just the manager of tech support. He's the manager of all their training. And one of the guys that, Scott, who took us on the whole entire tour of the building, he's not on any of the videos, but Scott was a plumber before he went to work for them. But he was in research and development back in the day and was a part of all of the kind of before it's made, before it's sold, all of that. And now he's on the back end after it's sold in tech training and helping with the support for the field installation and whatnot. And it's just crazy to see the excitement they have for their own product and how they're very much dedicated to their own product. And I'm telling you, I saw some stuff. We're not allowed to talk about it, and I'm not being funny. We really aren't. But they're making some stuff that's really cool. What I can say is that the industry is about to change, and not because of just their research and development. The industry is about to change. He was getting into it right there with regulations. Regulations are changing, first in commercial, then in residential. I didn't even know about some of these changes that are coming, but they are coming. They are not just maybe coming. They've already been cemented in place. Just a matter to realize it. It's going to be bigger changes than 2015, and you better be ready for it. If you don't know what they are, my gosh, you are totally going to miss out, because when this thing comes, when it changes, everything behind it has to be changed. There's going to be so much conversion that comes into this thing, and there's going to be a lot of people, kind of like the Blockbuster, Netflix, Redbox scenario, where someone gets squeezed out because they don't adapt fast enough. And you know, it's going to go all the way down to the shop, meaning all the way from the manufacturer down to the shop. Everyone has to adapt and change and get ready for this. I hope that you guys are prepared and paying attention to what's going on with government. Because if you're not, and this isn't a right and a left thing, this is just a reality thing, that you have to understand the regulation changes. For those that are in our program, we are going to be talking about this in the next owners meeting. We're going to be talking about this. Tech trainings, we're going to be talking about this. Probably bringing Bradford White in to do some trainings as to what, not just installation, not just technical training, but also for conversion and regulational change. Bob, I would, but I cannot. What's up, Fresh? Dorinda Opsa says, what up? Bradford White is the way over on YouTube. Gonzalez Sanchez, what's up? Look, I'm just telling you, you guys got to stay up to speed on this stuff. Don't just be in the truck riding around wondering what, because you're going to be looking for things that aren't going to exist anymore at the supply shops. And you better, and I don't want the regulation to take effect and then you're trying to play catch up. You need those reps now. You need practice now. You better get on board with the new products and the new knowledge now. Now is the time. Did we get the video fixed? Okay, doesn't look like we're going to be able to show you that third video. So here's my promise to you. We will get it fixed, and we will get it released on the internet, and then we'll probably show it on the next show just as a way to kind of bring us back to this for a minute, because I want you guys to see what he talks about. They got such a cool training facility. We were sitting in it in the interview. You could see all those. That wasn't a green screen. That was all there. In fact, there's multiple rows of that, so there's like a full room in there. And it's set up for just about anything, and it's interchangeable. In fact, Bob Kellogg's on here. He was in our program years back, and one of the things we teach in our program is we teach the owners how to build these training facilities in-house without spending a bunch of money to give your team reps so they can get faster and get better faster. And Bob did this with four water heaters in a row in a series, and he was able to resource them so he could have an apprentice come in and flop it from gas to electric to power vent back to tankless, all the way around. And it was pretty cool, and could diagnose and create a lot of training environment circumstances, situations. Pretty great stuff. Well, that's what they have. They have that. They have it on a much more massive level, and then they've got a huge stadium on the other side of the room there. I think we showed it in the end of that video. Maybe it got cut. I don't know if we showed. Did we show the whole room, Tyler, of the whole training room? It was supposed to be in that second video. I don't know, but that's all right. It was like a big stadium, and so they had huge screens you could watch. It was just really cool. You have to stay ahead of the industry. Changes to stay competitive. Absolutely. You got to know what's going on. The industry is better because you are sharing this knowledge for all of us. Cornwell Plumbing in the house. What up, Fresh? Good to see you guys as always. Andrew, Chris, what up? Okay, look, guys, I'm telling you right now, when you get a chance to get knowledge from the manufacturer, you got to get it because the information from the manufacturer down to the field is so diluted and so broken and so misinformed. It's wild. I can't tell you how many plumbers I meet that have a different opinion. It's not an opinion on how a softener works or what a softener is, or a different opinion. And it's like, man, this stuff really isn't opinion based, man. There's a sequence. In fact, that's in that last video. He talks about the order of events when you're diagnosing a water heater and how important it is. And it doesn't matter if it's a Bradford White or a Ream or an A.O. Smith. It's all the same at the end of the day. Making sure you understand the sequence and order of events for a water heater and how to explain that water heater to the customer in a way that they understand and what's really going on with these water heaters. And I know a lot of people are like, it's just a water heater, but it's not. It's really not. It's really not. Not in the way that it's installed, not in the way that it's manufactured, not in the way that it's rated. I did tag them. Man, I can't wait to get that video out there because I make fun of them for not putting the date on the tags. I got them, guys. I got them real good. But we'll show that video coming up here in the next week or so. Look, if you want to learn how to do the blueprint, the basically what we teach in our program, come to this training on Wednesday. It's free. We'll invite you guys. ServiceExpertsBlueprint.com. www.serviceexpertblueprint.com. It's all singular. I added some S's in there that don't exist. ServiceExpertBlueprint.com. And I'll spend 90 minutes with you on Wednesday, and we'll walk through the framework of how to run your plumbing business, how to transform your service plumbing company from fast food to fine dining. We even talked about that inside of that video that we can't show. One of the comments he made was fast is slow and slow is fast. And I made the comment that, yeah, you can go to fast food and get fast food, but it will make you slow. It was funny. It was funnier in the context of that video. Man, it was funny in that video. Look, how many of you guys, they are not all created equal? And it's not just limited to water heaters, y'all. It's not limited to water heaters. Look, big box stores have a different customer. They're not selling to the pros. I know they put that on their little things to get you, but they're not. They're selling to homeowners. They're selling it to do-it-yourselfers. Water heaters are part of that. Garbage disposals are part of that. Faucets are part of that. You've got so many brands that make it this way for the supply shop. They make it that way for the big box store. It's one of the things I liked about Bradford White. They only make it one way. Reminds me of In-N-Out, quality only. You know what I'm saying? In-N-Out burger, much better than Whataburger. It's like there's a lot of things in life you can do that looks like the best, or you can get the best. LeBron James looks like the best. Kobe Bryant is the best. You see where I'm going with this. Water heater is a 10-year decision for the customer. Yeah, sometimes 12 and 15 in different parts of the country. Heck, down in South Carolina, like it's a 28-year decision. I was down there. I've seen 2 water heaters back to back from like the 90s. And these water heaters were put in the house the year before I graduated high school. Like I said, a box of chocolates are made cheap and breakable. Oh, no, he said box stores. I was thinking a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to find inside. That's true for water heaters too. It's everything we use in the field. I mean, think about your tools. How many of you are Milwaukee till you die? Uh-oh, do we have bad internet connection? What's going on? As always, it all comes down to giving your customer the best possible experience. It all comes down to doing things for your customer in a way that separates yourself so you're not a commodity, so you're not just another water heater, you're not just another plumber, you're not just another company. You are premium. And until you do that, until you separate yourself like that, it's going to be hard for you to play that game the way that it needs to be played. Meaning there's going to be so many times you get compared to the cheapest water heater they saw in the newspaper or the cheapest water heater they saw online. And if you want to break that mold, if you don't want them to get 3 more quotes, if you want them to feel comfortable and confident and to be able to use you, part of that deal is you have to look professional. You have to be professional. You have to provide professional solutions. And inside of all that, you got to diagnose thoroughly and advise and educate in a way the customer can understand. And that does not happen without product knowledge. It never can happen, it never will happen, and it never has happened if you don't have product knowledge. Product knowledge is the source of confidence that you need to have inside that home. If you're not confident about what you're solving, if you're not confident about what you're diagnosing, how can the customer trust and believe what you're saying? How can they know that they're going to make a good decision based off your advice? They can't. It requires confidence. Confidence comes from product knowledge. Product knowledge is the source of that confidence. Please understand this. Please demand this inside of the company that you work for. If you're an owner, please provide this like never before, because product knowledge will be the key thing that separates you and your team from the next person, from the next company, from the next offer, from the next estimate. And I'm telling you right now, it doesn't just end with product knowledge. Now how you communicate it is going to be equally important, but let's just start with product knowledge. Let's just start with understanding what we're solving. Let's just start with understanding what the solutions are to the problems that we experience. Product knowledge, product knowledge, product knowledge. It's going to provide confidence. Confidence is going to breed trust, and trust is what allows you to advise your customer. I promise you that there is no way around it. There is no substitute for it, and there is no way to skip it. I'm telling you right now, Fresh, I know people who work at Cambridge and Lee and Pipe, and it made a difference too. Trent says, I've used both. I like affordable, but I respect a superior product. 100-year century refresh professionalism goes a long way. Christopher says 100%. Put down the haterade Fresh. She's just talking about Whataburger. Yeah, okay, anyways, we're not going to get into that right now. Look, there can only be one. In and out. I love you guys. Remember, serve your community and everything, not just plumbing. Have a good evening. If you want more tips about marketing, sales, and business, type subscribe in the comments and get alerts about future shows. Also, check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and other major platforms. Thanks again for watching The Fresh Approach.
Fresh.